Okay, and we're going to share our screen. And get going. Anne-Marie, did you want to say anything to start us off here? Can you see my screen?
No.
No,
No.
not yet.
All right.
So we are doing this training for the first time because we thought it would probably make sense to look at doing outbound and inbound counselor training kind of in small digestible bites while we're in the process of moving forward. So right now we're focused on, what needs to be done with regards to documents to get everything out to our inbound students, so that we do it in a timely manner, given the length of time it's taking for visa processing now. So we thought it'd be great to walk through it and it's going to be top of mind. Then in May, June, we'll look to schedule a session on host family and host family training. And then we'll have another session with the inbounds and the counselors at the inbound training at the end of August. And with that, I will leave it to Linda to present because she knows these documents like no one else.
Well, they keep changing anyways.
Yeah, you're on top of it like no one else then.
All right. So I just want to remind you who's on the committee. We were hoping Damien will join. He might have joined and I didn't see him, but Damien's the inbound coordinator, and he's the one that's really on top of getting these documents done. So he'll be calling you if you're a little slow. He calls the students if they're a little slow, and we're moving along. Your RYE committee, you should all have a youth exchange officer, protection officer, inbound, outbound counselor. So today's session is focused on the club inbound counselor and the YEO as backup. And as Anne-Marie said, we've got all these pieces that we want to go over, and we've done training a whole day and tried to cover all of it. It was too much. So today we're going to work on the paperwork that you will need to do for your student to get their study permit and or their visa if required. So the first little bit is just for your information. And I put this in so that you have some context. So we have all 7 students now. We have files for all 7 inbound students, and they're slowly getting emails from Damien to ask them to provide us with some information and also this paperwork. So the travel authorization, which is the broad umbrella travel, their insurance card, which they can send to us a little later. If they're going to be over 18 before or while they're here, there's an agreement they need to sign. And then the big one, the inbound program rules for the district, which I sent you all a copy because I didn't want to put it all in this slide. So when we get to that, that's as much for you to understand what we're expecting from the students so that you know you have our support when you see what's in there and how it works. So the travel authorization is, as I said, an umbrella document that has the parents sign, the parents and the students sign, and it's to say that we understand our student may be traveling with school excursions, they may be going on Rotary tours, and there may be some optional tours that our student will go on, but they will never be allowed to travel on their own. So those students who are asking to go to Vancouver to visit their cousin for Christmas, that would be considered an alone travel, which I'm pretty sure Anne-Marie would say no, unless there's some other extenuating circumstances.
Now, can I ask a question there? Because we did send a student on his own to Ottawa for camp last year.
It was a
Rotary camp.
It was a Rotary camp, yes.
No,
So it wasn't them going off to visit.
Okay, but they traveled by air on their own.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so the difference, Barb, is they're going on a organized Rotary or school trip versus they decide they want to go visit great Uncle Bob in New York for Easter.
Okay,
That's the Rotary Adventures in Citizenship program?
yeah,
Barb?
yeah, was great.
Yeah. The overage agreement, we haven't updated this at all, but we're still using it. We're going through the document slowly. But this one is where the student's telling us, I know I'm going to turn 18. I understand I still have to follow all the rules. I still have to go to school. I have to do exams if I'm doing exams, my homework, et cetera, et cetera. So we get them to sign this separately so we can point back to them if they start to go off the rails or decide they're now an 18-year-old who doesn't need to go to school anymore. There's Damien. All right, this is the document. Oh, it's only a 4-page. I thought it was a 6-page. This is the document that I sent to you, and it's also one that's sent to the inbound students to sign, and it stipulates all of the various rules and regulations that our district expects. And it's everything from when we expect you to arrive, when we expect you to leave, anything to do with language camps and emergency funds and medical insurance and all the rest of it. So you've got that document in your hand. It's also a document that's on our Club Runner website if you need to reference it and you've lost it. I would encourage you to go through it because this is what we're telling your inbound students. So please be aware of all of the things that they're agreeing to so that you're not crossing, going against something unknowingly. Anything to add there, Damien or Anne Marie? Because we did update a few things on there.
What I liked about it,
So I
Linda,
think the thing is the emergency fund. We weren't too fussed about where that emergency fund was held because now they can access it electronically. So that was always a question the Kelly Council asked: is where do I have to keep the? They have to keep the money in the bank or wherever it is. I said you can keep it in the sock under the bed, as far as I'm concerned.
I was thinking more of the health stuff where they tell us one thing and when they come, something has changed. And they haven't told us that they're now on medication or not on medication, or they now have a girlfriend they're very serious about, or those sorts of things. And
I have a question. I don't know whether it's appropriate to ask right now about the insurance. We had a claim on we had a need to pay for a medical appointment, and the insurance won't kick in here, so we have to make a claim for it. And is there some protocol about how you go about doing that? And maybe it's offline that I need to talk to you.
yeah, I would say reach out to Damien and just explain the situation, or Anne Marie.
I have a question kind of that goes along with that. I got a letter for Frida from Alberta Health Services, which she asked me to open for her. And it says that you're a resident, or we think you're a resident, you need to apply for the Alberta Health Insurance coverage. And I'm guessing we just ignore those, do we? Or should they have been registered for that already?
No, she's not a resident and she's not here for, Damien, you researched this one, didn't you? They have to be 365 days or something?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So they have to be here longer than over a year to get the Alberta Health. That's why we
I think it's
pay
just the school system triggers it, I think, because I got one for my daughters when we first moved here. So I think because they're enrolled in school, it triggers it automatically. So that makes sense that we just ignore that.
Yeah, going back to Barb's question there, that we send out the health insurance information for all the students. They get a little health insurance card of their own from their insurance company. It tells the form and the booklet tell you exactly how to claim the money for that. Sometimes some health providers or clinics will allow them to get the medical services, and then they put the claim in themselves. Otherwise, you just pay for it and then send a receipt off to Susie Bolduc for all the kids except for the Danish kids. But it's pretty straightforward, and I'll send out all the information about the healthcare and what's covered and what's not covered. It's important that the counselors understand that, because it's a question comes up every year. You know, you take the kid to the medical clinic, who's paying for that? Their insurances. Insurance pays for it all. In fact, even their medication, I mean, the insurance will pay for a lot of that stuff too. There's surprising what the insurance company will pay for.
Thanks. All right, so I have again put these documents on our Club Runner document site. I'm not going to go through that here, but if anyone wants to know how to get in there, I can show you. So this is the information that we send to the inbound students district, the sponsoring club. So we do up a RYE chair letter supporting the inbound student. So that's prepared by us, and it goes automatically. You don't have to do anything. You have 3 documents that are very important. The host club, district, and school endorsements. We used to call it the guarantee form. That's prepared by yourself. It's mostly pre-populated, but that's a key document that you need to work on. The custodian agreement, and then the host school letter of acceptance waiving the international fee. So those 3 documents are the ones we're looking for in the next little while, once we match your student and send you the blanks. The chair letter, this is what it looks like. I mocked one up for Carolina, and it's just something that they can take to the consulate when they're applying for their study permit. It just adds a little extra. But let's go through the school endorsements, the host club, district, and school endorsements. This document will by and large be pre-populated. If I know what school your student is going to, that part will be pre-populated as well. So section A is where you have to have your club president and your YEO sign. Anne-Marie has already signed. So that will be pre-populated except for those 2 blocks, which must be signed. And as soon as you get this, that's the easiest thing to get done. Get that signed like the first week you go to Rotary. Sorry, I'm babysitting a cat and he's found a ball, so you're going to hear things running around here. The second portion is the host club counselor. Again, if I know who the counselor is going to be, it will be pre-populated. And there's nothing else for you to do with this section. If it's not populated, then you'll need to fill it in. So again, as much as I can, the system pre-populates this, so we're good to go. Here's the one where you need to go to the school. So again, if we know what school your inbound is going to, it'll be pre-populated at the top here. And all you need to do is get the school official, hopefully the principal or someone similar, signature, their email address, and a date. And if they have some sort of a stamp or a seal, a lot of them have a stamp just like that they put on letters or whatever. It doesn't have to be an official seal. So this, anything in the red, we need it done as soon as possible. And then the last thing is the first host family. In most cases, the inbound counselor, who's also the custodian, is the first host family for the first week or 2. And if you don't know who the host family is, just put the counselor in there. And that will never be pre-populated because we don't know who you're doing. And because the custodian is showing that the student is going to be staying with the custodian, the inbound counselor, we've never had a problem, but it makes sense to me that if this matches the custodian, it might make it even easier. If there are 2 different names in there, if you get a picky person, they might pull it apart. So those are all the sections for that one document. Any questions on this document? No? Okay. I know you probably say, well, seems pretty simple, but you have no idea how many people can mess up a document like this. And Damien's laughing because we do see it. All right, so once that document's done, and you do go to the school, you're going to leave them a completed and signed document with the school, keep a copy for our records. Scan the documents, you're going to send them to Damien, or if Damien's out of the country, send them to Linda. One of us will upload them into the system, but be sure your scans are really nice and clear and centered. We've had some really awful scans, and the more they go through the computer, the harder they are to read. So if you can make them nice and clean. The second document is a custodian agreement. This is in two parts. Page 1 is where you, the inbound counselor or custodian, you fill in the whole first page, sign it, have it notarized. The second page has all the same information except for the signature block. So you fill in everything there up to the signature block. And we will send that off to the parents and they will notarize it, and their student will take it to get their study permit. It'll be one of the documents required. And this is called, I put the document number here and what it's called, just in case you mess it up and you need to pull it back down and start all over again. And if I could ask you to try and open these documents, because Damien had trouble opening this particular document. And if you do have trouble, let us know and we'll redo the document in another format for you. All right, so there's section 1. The first blocks across the top will be pre-populated if I have time. I've got most of them done now. Again, if we know what school your student is going to, we can fill that in for you. I'll never fill in the address where the student will reside in Canada. That's for you to fill in. So we're just trying to make it easier for you. And this way I can get Damien to look at it, send it to the parents, make sure nothing's changed and nothing's, everything's going to be correct when it gets to where it needs to go. The second portion is for the parents. So we fill in the parents' names. Damien's been collecting their birth dates because it's not a piece of information we collect anywhere along the line. We put their home addresses in and their telephone numbers, and all of that comes off the application. The third piece is you, the custodian. This is your information. And again, when you put your name in, be sure it's exactly as it is on your passport. Your home address, your telephone number. And then here on page 1 is the portion that you will sign. I just wrote in there the custodian name, I, Linda Morris, hereby solemnly declare to look after Damien in his old age. Put the full student name, whatever is on their passport, put all of the names so it's exactly as their passport is. And then you're going to go to a notary and get that signed in front of them. And I say again, just do this portion for page 1. Page 2 is for the inbounds parents. I think most clubs have a notary in their club, or you know someone who's a notary. Anne Marie, is there still a notary at City Hall that you can just go and use?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware, but
Okay, there used to be one, so that's another thing. And I know banks used to have notaries, but I think they pulled that as well.
I use
I think-
Southern Alberta Law here in Okotoks. I don't know if there's one in Calgary too, but it was free of charge when I went last time. So
Sometimes registry's offices have them.
Okay, those are great ideas. So don't let finding a notary slow you down. All right, the school letter of acceptance. When you go to the school, this is the one thing that either they or the school board are going to prepare for you. I know that CBE, the Calgary Catholic School Board, the Rocky View School Board, and Our Lady of Christ the Redeemer School Board issues the letter, not the school. That doesn't mean that others are all issued by the school. It just means Those are the ones I know are issued by the school board. So find out, Steve, maybe you can find out from Wendy whether the school principal is issuing this letter or the board. I believe down there it's the school principal. The sample letter will be sent to you and you can leave a copy with the school or school board and they will either use it exactly or they'll look at sort of the formatting and the wording that we're looking for. The big piece we're looking for is the board will waive the international tuition fee. Those tuition fees are $13,000, $14,000, something like that. So that's the piece we're looking for in the letter. And that's it. Those are the documents we need from you ASAP. As soon as we match your student and you get our time-sensitive email, that's what we need. And Damien is looking for them by April 15th. Any questions? Oh my
Linda,
goodness.
just looking at the forms tonight, they don't look any different than I remember last year.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not any different.
In the case of the school letter, I know what I did is I took your template letter file and emailed it. In this case, it was the principal of the school that, and they just put it on they just cut and pasted and put it right on their letterhead. And he signed it right on the spot when I went in to pick up the paperwork.
Oh, yeah. He probably shouldn't have, but that's okay. As long as we got something. So no other questions. So these are the three big documents we need from you. I don't know why I can't see. Okay. The other thing you need to fill in is a reciprocal. The reciprocal is what's going to get your school their funding. And you will receive a copy of the outbound, the reciprocal where we filled in all of the outbound information. You may have the inbound information filled in, you may not. At the end of the day, this box here, the partner student who is our inbound student, this box of information needs to be filled in. You don't need to sign anything, it's already signed, and you just take it along with those other documents to the school. And we've already, I think everyone's already talked to their principals because we had the principals sign the document with the outbounds. So again, just this box here, these boxes here need to be filled in. And they need this to be able to do the letter of acceptance. All right.
I should keep a copy though too, Linda.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Give the original to the school, but we need
Yeah,
to keep a copy.
keep a copy for our files. It's here. All right, so reciprocal, keep a copy for us. So when you go to the school, you're going to give them the reciprocal. You're going to give them, most of them want the student's application, but because of privacy rules, I don't believe we should be giving the dental or the medical information. Absolutely their transcripts, absolutely their reference letter, the two guarantees, the guarantee for the outbound and the guarantee for the inbound should go. Because the sponsor guarantee for your inbound is what is replacing those signatures on the reciprocal that we don't get the parents to sign. Does that make sense? It's hard when you've got inbound and outbound in the same, the reciprocal is both, so that's where it gets a little tricky. Now you can also tell them, some of them will say, well, I need the study permit. Absolutely. When the student arrives, they generally have a document intake meeting with the school or the school board. In the Catholic system, it's, is it the Catholic? Yeah, the Catholic system, it's at St. John's, something or other. They do a full intake there. So your student's going to bring their study permit, a visa if it's required. They're going to bring the whole custodian agreement, including that second page, which is signed and notarized by their parents. They're going to bring their original passport. And the medical and travel insurance is also very important because the school won't accept them if they don't see that those kids are insured. That's the first question I get every time I talk to the boards. All right, so where are we in the process? We're at the point where when we assign the students to you, you're going to receive step-by-step instructions and copies of these documents we've just talked about. And as soon as possible, if you could execute the documents with your club and then make the appointment with the school to have them sign the guarantee, give them a copy of the custodian, page 1, and reciprocal, and ask for the letter of acceptance. Because without those documents that we're asking you for, your inbound can't even start to apply for their study permit. And if you want to hear some horror stories, just talk to Damien. He's had some exciting times with the kids in the past. Spring break, we're on Calgary Public Board spring break right now. We start Catholic spring break April 18, so be aware of the spring breaks in your school district as well. Anything to add there, Damien?
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You know, these things are important certainly to some of the countries. It takes a lot of time to get through Immigration Canada these days. You'd be surprised. Last year it was taking almost 4 months for some of the kids to get their study permits and visas. So the sooner we get on this thing, you think you got a lot of time. We actually don't. Time will go by so fast, which is why I'll hound people for the documentation.
I warned them. All
Yeah.
right. I'm trying to, I don't know. There we go. Okay. I just put the email. This is what the email looks like. It's, we're going to tell you, here's the documents you need, when you need it. And we've actually gone step by step. Step 1, you know, before taking the documents, do this. Here's a sample. Step 2, am I going backwards? Yeah, so it just goes through all of the documents. Don't send the document. We've had some counselors think they're helping and they send documents to the parents and the parents are confused because they don't have the whole story. Step 2, you go to the school, you get their signatures on things, leave them with copies, keep the originals for the custodian, obviously. And then scan the documents, and sorry for the codes in there, I took it right off the RYE. Scan the documents and upload them to the system, or send them to Damien, who will upload them to the system. Anne Marie, I don't know that we still need the originals to go to you, do we? I think the originals should stay with the
I don't think we need them. Everything is electronic now. All the documents that are being uploaded are all electronic. So as long as as long as we store a copy in RYE, I think that's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah, we were keeping the originals because we had people losing them when it was mostly paper. So I will probably revamp this part of the letter to say, you know, get them to Damien as soon as you can. Scan them, make sure they're nice and clean, and keep your copies of your files because you are the custodian, you are the holder of their documents. So if you have originals or, you know, copies, keep the package together in case something happens. All right, and again, everything, this note was just that question, do we still need them mailed? So all documents, again, to Damien before April 15th if we can. Anything else? Are you thoroughly confused? The new counselors? Cindy, how are you doing?
Good. I'm just most curious about when we get to know who we like what the process is for the students to be considered by our club and anyone else's club.
All right, then I'm going to move on to you, Damien.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they all can't fit on one screen, but we've kind of broken it down to show some likes and dislikes. We get the stuff from the application letters that they submit themselves, and what their parents say about them on the application letters. A kid that says they like music, well, that's like saying I like oxygen. They all say I like music, but some more than others for some reason. So we put in their likes, dislikes, and some notes. Maybe it's important to your club. Yeah, and there's the all 7 of them. So we have, if we could just scroll back one, Linda, I'll talk about Brazil for a second. Brazil is a problematic country for us to get approval from our Immigration Canada, because the Brazilian kid needs a study permit and a visa. And it's one of the few countries that requires both those things. So the Brazilian kid has already been assigned to Okotoks, and we've been dealing with Okotoks for the last several weeks, getting a head start on getting the Brazilian kid their work done, because last year the kid didn't make it in time. It took so long for Immigration Canada, and the year before the kid just barely made it, but it ended up costing the family a lot of money because it was a last minute flight that they had to book. So Brazil's gone. Don't consider Brazil. It's gone to Okotoks. So if you want to read off the top, Flavio is a male boy, 17. He's a chatty kid. His parents have said nice things about him, as he always do. The one issue is he has a girlfriend, and I've been talking to Flavio about that and indicating to him the concerns we have with the girlfriend, the concern that he'll be on the phone every day and so forth with his girlfriend. He is quite determined that they will have a long distance relationship. Make of that what you will. He's a 17-year-old boy. Japan, Ran is a 17-year-old girl. Seems quite nice. She's plays handball. She's dedicated to learning English, which is a big thing. She has an animal and dust allergies. Now, I talked to Ran today, and she says she doesn't know if she's got a horse or a cow allergy. It's more the small animals like cats and dogs. But she seems like a good candidate. So, Spain, Irene from Spain, 16-year-old girl, really switched on. I've been dealing with her for a while now, and she's a bright kid. Next one, Linda, please. Rochelle from the Netherlands. We're waiting on just some more information from the Netherlands before we firm up her exchange. So I won't talk too much about that. But what I got from her parents, Rochelle, she cycles 20 kilometers to work to school every day. She works in an old people's home with dementia patients part-time. I mean, she's a outgoing, sporty sort of kid. A lot of good things going for Rochelle once we get our application sorted out. Valentin from Germany is a 16-year-old boy, and he's into theater and singing and all that kind of stuff. She's like an indoorsy sort of kid more than anything else. Likes natural sciences, looking for a career in chemistry, but an independent kid. And again, the parents think he's the greatest kid in the world. So there you go. And my personal favorite, Lilou, a 16-year-old girl from France. And I say personal favorite because she gets her name from the Fifth Element. If you don't know the Fifth Element movie, Lilou. Lilou, she's very nice. Does calligraphy, horseback riding. Afraid of falling off horses, but she likes the horseback ride. She's into sewing and art, and but she's terrified of insects and spiders, and cooked carrots. So yeah, that's the kids. What will happen now is we scroll down, Linda, to the next page. So what I've done in the past is we give it to you guys, and then you write in there your first through sixth, in this case, first through sixth pick on of those kids. So you tell me which one. So for example, if Sylvan Lake, like the Italian kid, number 1, put in 1 there, Japan number 2, and so forth. And you all just fill in that form for your club and go, what's my first, second, third, fourth pick out of those kids, and then send it to me, and I'll deconflict them all. And in the past, we were very fortunate that we've been able to give the clubs generally their first or second picks. So if there's a conflict, then we'll take a look and go, well, why would, say, for example, our two clubs wanted the kid from France. Then we can try and deconflict that and say, why do you think the kid from France will work better at your club than the other one? Things like that. And, generally, we will work these things out. So, yeah, so you'll see there at Brazil, Carol from Brazil is going to Okotoks in the bottom left-hand corner. Any questions on that?
What's the
So
timeline on that, Damien?
Well, I think we all want to get going as soon as possible, particularly if you're going to get your performance done by April 15th. So, frankly, as soon as you possibly can. I mean, we need to get those forms complete. We're only 3 weeks away from April 17th or 15th now. So, is it possible you could all have them done by Monday?
Are you going to send these out, Damien?
Well, Linda's going to have the PowerPoint sent to you. So they're all all information contained in the PowerPoint. You can just take this form here and you don't need to actually use the form. Just email me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's good enough for which countries you want. I'll fill in the little chart here, and then I'll deconflict. But if there's a problem with deconflicting, that tends to take more time than clubs picking. Frankly, the clubs tend to go with the idea that, oh, we've had an Italian kid, last year, we don't want our Italian kid, or something like that. So that's how they tend to break it up, rather than go, there's something special about that kid. And if you look at them, there really isn't, except for the Japanese kid doesn't like small animals. That makes it difficult for host families. The Spanish kid, flamenco dancer since she was 5 years old. If you've got a really good dancer in your club, maybe that's one they want to go with. Field hockey, if they're available for a good field hockey club in your town or your club, that kind of stuff. But by and large, it tends more to be, we don't want the same country you've had in the past 5 years or 3 years, whatever it is, something like that.
Damien,
Yes.
what about the size of city they're from? I just think sometimes there's better congruency if they're from a huge city, they go to a big city. I know it doesn't always work that way, but what's your comment on that? And if that is a guiding principle or not?
No, it's not really city, because I think a lot of the kids want to try something different. They want to have a different experience. Whereas others, like you say, they do like to go to the city. I will say this, that the problem we've had in the past is that in the Calgary clubs, the kids end up having to travel long distances to get to school. And that is a bit of a disadvantage for the Calgary clubs. Last year, or this year actually, Timo was traveling 2 hours to school and 2 hours back at night. That's a bit more problematic, unfortunately. So you see, that's why I said Rochelle, she's used to traveling long distances by bike to get to school. She takes a train and so forth as well. So that's more of a concern for me than whether or not they came from a big city. Ryan is from Nagasaki in Japan. It's a huge city, but she might like the idea of going to a smaller town and getting that different experience. So you can't really say one way or the other what the kids are going to be like. We do the best for them.
Yeah, we had in Cochrane, we had a good experience with a boy many years ago who came, Cochrane, small town compared to Istanbul. He liked it.
Yeah.
He did like going to see the crowds in downtown Calgary on New Year's Eve, though.
Alana, do you have a question?
Pardon me?
So sorry, I see Alana's hand up there. Alana, do you have a question? I'm guessing that means no. I'll let Alana figure that out. Anybody else have any questions about that chart or the kids? Certainly, if you have any more questions about the kids, let me know. Alana, you on there?
So Damien, it's not just a like if a kid from Lethbridge is going to Spain, it's not reciprocal
No.
this way?
No, no, not at all. No, we find it it's probably a better to let the clubs pick the student that they want, so they know what they're getting themselves into. Otherwise, I mean, if your kid goes to Spain last year and goes to Spain this year, then you're getting the Spanish kid back twice. So it's better to give some variety and mix it up.
Unless that's what they want, right? Like, I think that's the thing is you don't have to, but if that's the student that matches you best and your club the best, then you don't have a limitation not to choose them. Just don't feel you have to choose them because your student is going to Spain, right?
Right. So does everybody think they can get this done by Monday?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
If you can, don't wait. I mean, let me know as soon as possible. Because the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can fill in the paperwork and get it out to you, and the sooner we can get going on this. Like I say, it's for the European kids, it's not too bad, but for some of the other kids, it's really we get down to the wire coming down to August with the kids, and then to be fair to them, I mean they start getting very nervous and anxious about getting their applications accepted by Immigration Canada. Immigration Canada, you can just never tell how long they're going to be. And then and the other part of it is, even if they do get it, it ends up costing the parents a lot of money for a last minute flight, because we recommend to them that they do not buy a flight until they've got their study permit done. In Brazil's case, they need a study permit and a visa, so it takes even longer for that to happen.
Damien Rick has his hand up.
Yeah, it was more of a question to the YEOs and the counselors on tonight's call. How's everybody coming with lining up your host families for next year?
We're pretty good. We've got the first one, who is actually our outgoing.
I haven't started, Rick. I've got to get on that. I'm new to the process, but I haven't engaged with the next year program yet.
And Rick, I found out from Mel that we might not have any of our host families yet, just because Mel and her husband can't commit to it, and apparently Darren's not going to be committing to it, and so we're sort of back to square one trying to find somebody. But we do have Carol Sullis, who is Matthew's mom, who I think Mel's trying to encourage her to become a Rotarian, but I think she's willing to take someone, but she would probably want a boy because Matthew's coming back.
We had
Yes.
one suggestion from one of our current host families. She works for the Catholic School Board, and I'm under the impression there's quite a few of them going to the Catholic schools. She said that there's lots of people in the churches that would actually be happy to be host families, most likely, that do take them sometimes for other programs. So that might be an option worth exploring for anybody struggling with families.
I know Calgary Fish Creek has one confirmed now, and that's our outbound students' family is agreed to host inbound.
Okay, because Mel, she asked me that question if Sophia was going, her parents were going to, so that's good. And so, and I don't know what the deal is. I just got back from holidays myself, so I'll be checking into it too.
I sent you a direct message there, Debbie, about maybe getting together tomorrow so we can collectively, it's your club's responsibility for the inbound this year.
Right.
But I think we need to kind of put our heads together and agree on our priorities.
Sure. Sounds
Because
good.
host families can play a role, especially if they're single parent host families.
Okay.
If I gotta make an appeal, when you, particularly to the Calgary clubs, when you're looking at your host families, please take a look at how long it's going to take to get the kid from the host family to a school. Over the past few years, we've had excessive distances. The idea that a kid spends 4 hours a day on a Calgary city bus, I mean, is ridiculous. And I'm sure you probably wouldn't want your own son or daughter to have to go through that. It seems to be overlooked when people pick their host families, and I know how difficult it is to get host families, but please consider that. and take a look at the address of those family, where the kids going to school, how long it's going to take to get there. I mean, if it's over an hour, I mean, you really got to consider whether or not that's the right spot to put that kid. Please. It's one of the biggest dissatisfiers we get from the students. The biggest complaint we get is that's not what they came to Canada for, to spend 4 hours on a bus in Calgary every day.
It's a challenge, Damien, and you know, it's not that that's our intent to place students where they've got to travel an hour or more each way to school, but when you only get so many host families standing up, we're blessed to have them, and we're seeing a reduction in the number of schools that we can actually place them. We were given 3 schools in the Calgary Board of Education last year, and I had to go through this paperwork process for 3 times because I got moved from one school to the next. So we're fortunate that William Everhart High School came forward and give us the go ahead to host TMO. So it was not by design. It's frustrating, I can tell you that much, and it takes patience.
Yeah, I think this year will be better, Damien, because the schools are closer to train lines. Cliff, you've got your hand up. You're on mute.
From a year ago when we had nothing, we had a very good experience. Our students, the host families have been very good. Their experience is very good. We've made sure that the student is in contact with the club all the time. In fact, our outbound student, Georgie in Spain, spoke at our club by Zoom. So we're really getting the club and as the year progresses, more and more the club members are interested. Our youth protection, more and more of our members are getting full clearance, and that breaks the barrier from them being available to participate. One point I'd bring out is that we maybe should, as a group in Calgary, if anyone can host, it doesn't really matter which club you're doing it for, because often it's a timing. I can host in these months and I can't host in these other. It really doesn't matter which club we're hosting for. I mean, it's nicer if they're hosting for your own club, but if clubs have an issue, they could reach out and see if other clubs have available host families.
Yeah, no, good point. Damien, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
So just how many families are required?
Our partnership agreement says we will have 2 to 4. Studies show 3 is the ideal number. So if you, Anne Marie, correct me if I'm wrong, if they can only have 1 family, you would go back and say, negotiate something, correct?
Yeah, and I don't think it would be a huge issue, because that's the case in many countries as well. Different countries go about it differently. Some of them require their outbound student to find at minimum 1 and sometimes all the host families for the inbound that's replacing their student. So we haven't gone that route, but it is something we could consider discussing, saying, can you commit to finding 1 host family while your student is out as an option? It could be them, or they could have family or friends. I don't know that we could hold them to it, but it might help us build that reservoir.
Cindy.
My question is about the last 2 weeks of the exchange program. Is it absolutely a requirement that the student stays with the counselor the last 2 weeks?
No, it's probably not as important now, but and again, Anne Marie, jump in. But what we found was students by the last host family got very, very close to their host family, and they had a hard time breaking off. And we just, sent them to their inbound counselor to sort of ease them out of that host family and get them prepared to go home, kind of like when they stay with the inbound counselor as they come, to get them prepared to go into school here. So I don't think it's as important. Anne Marie, what would you say?
It kind of also depends on the student, right? But if the inbound counselor doesn't have the capacity to do it, then you don't have to. But it's just, again, it's try to kind of, rather than rip the Band-Aid off really quickly, kind of help them with transition and allow them to kind of sort through everything they've got and start returning things that maybe need to be returned in terms of borrowed clothes, boots, outerwear, hats, mitts, that sort of thing. And, have someone who's maybe a little distant from them that can help them sort through their luggage on what needs to go home and how to pack their bags. It's really more that, but it's absolutely not mandatory.
Okay, that helps because I'm having Ria already for 2 weeks, and she feels like she's not then getting 2 weeks with her family in the end because of Scott and Laura Lee have had to be away a few times while she's living there. So I don't really want to deprive her of her time with her families either. So I may just have her remain at her last host family.
That's fine.
Totally and then fine. Help her with packing as needed.
You may want to come over and help her out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Damien, for the students and assigning, I'm going to send those 3 slides tonight to everyone, just so you have the information tonight. I know you said Monday, but if you can do it even sooner, that's better. Right, Damien? Because
yeah, sooner we go on the better.
You're giving them a whole week.
Well, I think, if they want to talk to their clubs, and it's a bit of an issue, but clearly, I said the sooner you get this back to us, the better. And I don't want to make it a point that first come, first served. I don't do that, but you never know. Wait.
All right, just to get that moving, because I know it's always an issue every year, and it's always around spring break. There's always someone who has trouble getting these things signed. Anything else before we close off? We're at 8:25. I don't want to drag out your meeting any longer. Is everything clear? You know what you have to do? How are you doing, Stephanie? You must be getting pretty close.
Yeah, so we've got the school acceptance and everything. So I think it's Friday. I'm just going to go to the Southern Alberta thing there because, Damien, we should be okay to get the Guardian stuff now, shouldn't we? So, yes. So yeah, they were really easy the last time. So I'm sure I can get that on Friday. I can't get there till Friday, but I'm sure.
And could you open that document?
It just shows as a picture, not as a document. We'll go back to it again here right now.
Okay. So if you have
it sends as a picture, so I wasn't. So no, I can't open it. I can't open it. No, it has sent as like a photo format as opposed to a document format, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to test it with a few people, and if it doesn't work, we'll have to maybe do a different format. We'll have to do something different, Damien, because we don't want that to be holding everything up.
Yeah, because it's just, yeah, no, it doesn't open.
Okay, good to know.
Because it doesn't, and it's got like a watermark thing on the bottom of it too.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
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 All right. Any last minute? Hello. Any last minute things, Damien, Anne-Marie?
Time is of the essence.
All right.
Honestly. Yeah.
Okay, I will send you those 3 slides right now, so you have something to take to your club and decide how you want to rank your preferences for inbound students.
When will we get the full slides, all of the ones?
Oh, I just need to do a little editing on a couple of them, so
okay.
I'll
Thank
send them to you within a day.
Okay, thanks.
And Jamie, and just for my own understanding, we don't have anything we don't review their whole application. It's just those highlights from your conversation with them. Is that right?
Basically, yes. I mean, there's not much beyond that you're going to get out of the application form. But once you get the student assigned, you'll get the whole application and read it all there. We've vetted the application forms, so there's never a problem. But we've essentially I've condensed the information rather than having you read the whole letter. A lot of it's just fluff of I go to school 8 o'clock, I take the bus at 8:05, that kind of stuff. So we try and get the essence of the kid and put it in that table. Sometimes there's not much to say, honestly. Sometimes the kid doesn't have much to say about themselves.
I will add the city that they live in though, Cindy, if that'll help you decide if they're from a big city and you want them to come to a smaller city or vice versa.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Linda.
Thanks so much.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.